President Biden announcing sanctions on Moscow yesterday, but failing to make a serious impact as Russian tanks roll into eastern Ukraine. The U.S. targeted two banks, but they were already sanctioned, along with Russia's sovereign debt and elites, oligarchs. Biden's sanctions stopping short of attacking Russia's oil and gas exports. The White House telling Americans to expect higher energy prices, but claiming that steps are being taken to try and reduce the expense. The price of oil right now at $91.71 a barrel. Joining me right now is Texas Congressman Pat Fallon. He is a member of the Armed Services Committee and an Air Force veteran. Congressman, thanks very much for being here. Before we get into oil and the strength of Texas, let me get your take as an Armed Services Committee member and an Air Force veteran on the military buildup and what comes next in Ukraine.
Well, Maria, thanks for having me on. I sent on to a letter back in October urging Joe Biden to send more lethal aid to the Ukraine, and so did ranking members Inhofe and Rogers. And he dragged his feet for months. It's inexplicable. I don't know why he did that, because it would have not only helped the Ukrainians defend themselves, but it would have sent a message to Putin and the Russians that we were serious about helping the Ukraine and protecting their sovereignty.
Well, what about the price of oil? I mean, wouldn't one, very easy response be to reinstate the XL pipeline to tell the world that America is prioritizing becoming energy independent?
Well, Maria, why did he do that in the first place? It was just what Joe Biden was doing as soon as he got into office was projecting weakness and wokeness. He cancels the Keystone XL pipeline, and then he essentially greenlighted the Nord Stream 2. And now that's obviously a huge problem. The Germans did halt it, but only temporarily. I would hope that they would permanently, if indeed Putin goes in and launches a full-scale invasion into the Ukraine, we would hope that our German allies permanently halted the pipeline. But unfortunately, that's not likely. We need to be having a comprehensive plan to getting North American energy, working with the Canadians and getting it into Europe so they're not reliant on Russia.
Yeah. Well, I mean, look, people are pushing back and are upset about a whole host of policies. Also, the pushback on people's rights. The D.C. Mayor Muriel Bowser now is being accused of overreacting after calling in more than 700 National Guard members to control the upcoming potential trucker protests. They're expected to coincide with next week's State of the Union address. The People's Convoy is gearing up to leave California and head cross-country to the nation's capital, Congressman. And we saw what happened in Canada. They're now in D.C. getting ready for these truckers as if they're some kind of criminals. You say instead of putting a wall up around the Capitol, the administration should be finishing the wall on the southern border. But they're afraid of regular citizens. We saw it with parents and critical race theory. Now they're pushing back on truckers. What's going on?
You know what, Maria, there were untold tens of millions, if not hundreds of millions of dollars spent on fencing and security around the Capitol after January 6th. We didn't need it at all. I kept pounding the wall and making videos saying, Nancy Pelosi, tear down this wall. And if it's up when we get back to D.C., I'll do the same thing. It is ridiculous. And it's funny how liberals claim when you're talking about a barrier or wall on the southern border, they say walls don't work. But when they feel threatened, they suddenly seem to. It's overkill. It's a massive waste of taxpayer money. The Capitol should be open. I've signed on several letters urging Nancy Pelosi to do just that.
Yeah, and I know that there's a wall right in Nancy Pelosi's state against Tijuana in California. That's been in place for years. Congressman, thanks very much. We'll keep watching all of that. Pat Fallon joining us this morning in Texas,
Thanks,
and we'll be right back.